What's your relationship with Donald?
I'm his silly rabbit.
He's what?
What the what?
So nice to meet you guys. I'm super excited to chat about this project. To start off, I've got a question for all of you. If we want to go Rembert, Gina, and then Kevin, what does it mean to everyone to have the opportunity to shed light and educate people who may not know the extent of what was happening on the Clippers team?
I grew up hearing people older than me talk about things that they lived through and like how momentous these moments were. And as a full-time journalist in 2013, 2014, when this was happening, as someone that covered it, I remember it feeling like things were changing in in celebrity, in sports, politically. I even as the years went by, remembering this moment, this incident, feeling like it left some breadcrumbs about where we were, potentially headed. And so to then circle back a decade later and be able to, both creatively and factually explore this project is super good, because I think for the people who are super familiar with it, it'll feel like a really nice rehash. But I also think there's a lot of folks who just maybe missed this, and I think it's going to be a really cool opportunity for them to experience it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, this project has always been about trying to look at what it does to us as a society to have toxic people in power, and what it does to our ability to thrive and be nice to other people and do our jobs, and really what forces exist to sort of keep those systems of power in place, and really whose responsibility it is to confront them.
Yeah, I think for me, Donald Sterling's like the he's like the first iteration of the COVID virus. And Trump is the next one that we haven't seen yet. And so if this sways the 113 votes that they're going to be lying about when the election happens, or whatever iteration of the falsification of the story, if this sways those people to not choose that man, so that's very specific, but I do think a lot about that. I think it's really timely for this to come out, to keep driving home what Gina just described, how niceness matters.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, in addition to being an EP, you also direct half of these episodes, including the first one. Can you talk about establishing the right tone to set up the story?
I kind of took the script, and that informed me tonally, and then we played with as far as we could go. We played with physical humor. We played with many, many ideas, and then the actors were another component that brought in that playfulness. And then when we got into the editing process, our editing staff took that hot potato and made it even more interesting. So it was a process. I'm very funny. Even when I did early in my career was doing the Jerry Bruckheimer shows, the CSIs, and in CSI New York, I unfortunately would find reasons to do humor inside of some of the most dire circumstances, which never made it to the screen, but that's what I was always thinking. So I think it was really perfect for me to have this handed to me, because I could have some fun with it. Yeah.
On the flip side of that, Rembert, you wrote the final episode. So can you share some insight on what it takes to bring a true story like this to an on-screen conclusion?
Well, yeah, Gina and I wrote the finale together, and I mean, it was we had to land the plane, and there was a lot of story that needed to fall in the right place. And I'll say it was really, it was an incredible, just being on it from the writer's room. This is like 2021 to now. Like I knew these characters so well. I'd been thinking about them for years and years and years. I think it was really helpful to kind of understand the things that we really cared about from the writer's room. Like, we cared about Elgin Baylor. We did not want to lose Elgin Baylor to the forces of a show, and to be able to end the show with Elgin is something that felt like we made the show we intended to make, you know? And there were a lot of moments in the final episode where it's like, yes, like, this is how we should leave Doc. Like, the players should leave. We want them to feel like there is hope in the future. You know, there are things like that stemmed from conversations 3 years ago, and I feel super fortunate to have, you know, been able to write a lot of those words to bring our show to a close.
All right, it looks like that is my time for today, but thank you guys so much for speaking with me. Such a well put together show. I'm looking forward to everyone seeing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you.
I'm the Lord Almighty as far as you're concerned.